The urge to explore constantly drives people to set foot in the harshest landscapes. Amidst the majestic Himalayas, there are treacherous routes that no vehicle can traverse. This place brings together impossible places that challenge the limits of human endurance. Viewed from above, narrow roads clinging to the cliffside resemble a life or death test for courageous drivers. Each trip is not merely an adventure, but a journey to capture the magnificent moments of the Earth. Do you have the mettle to embark on this journey? To begin, we stand before Aruanachal Pradesh, India's remote, far eastern frontier, where the Himalayas rear up in sheer walls of rock. From a distance, the road connecting Guwahati or Tezpur to Tawang looks like a slender, winding thread clinging to the sheer cliff face. Yet it is only when you take the wheel yourself that you truly feel the pressure weighing on every breath. Sela Pass sits at an altitude of 470 meters above sea level. At this height, the air is so thin that even a gentle tap on the accelerator or a sharp turn can leave you dizzy from a lack of oxygen. Year-round snow causes the wheels to spin helplessly. Without snow chains, a heavy 4x4 vehicle becomes no different from a bar of soap sliding across ice. On one side looms a sheer cliff, prone to landslides, while the other drops into a yawning abyss devoid of concrete curbs or safety barriers. A single moment of inattention or a poorly timed hard brake could send you plummeting to the bottom of the gorge. Renowned as a survival route of a very particular kind, blinding snowstorms and sub-zero temperatures plunging dozens of degrees below zero. If you think dangerous roads are defined solely by steep cliffs and precipices, Kazakhstan's M32 Highway will completely redefine your concept of a driving nightmare. Stretching over 2,000 kilometers across the vast Central Asian steppe, the M32 doesn't kill drivers with hairpin turns, but with the sheer brutality of nature. In winter, temperatures here can plummet to 40 degrees. Furious blizzards known to locals as buran can obliterate visibility in mere seconds, transforming the asphalt road into a vast, inescapable sheet of ice. With no mobile signal and no rest stops, there is nothing but white snow and howling winds. A vehicle breakdown here in the dead of a winter night is not merely a mechanical issue, it is a battle for survival against death by hypothermia. The M32 leaves no room for complacency. Here, a single moment of inattention or one wrong decision is enough to turn your trip into a journey of no return. So what do you think about this road if you were forced to drive along it in the middle of winter? Fasten your seatbelt and roll the window down, just a crack, to feel the biting, bone-chilling cold and hear the wind howling through the mountain pass. Right now, we are standing at an altitude of over 3,500 meters above sea level. Now the steering wheel is trembling in your hands, not from the cold, but from the sheer tension of navigating these impossible places. Glancing to the right, the car door seems to be hovering over empty space. Below lies a dizzying drop of thousands of meters plunging straight down to a churning rocky river. The road is less than 3 meters wide, nothing but rough earth and stone, with absolutely no concrete curbs or safety barriers. A steering error of just 5 centimeters, and there is no chance to correct it. The road cut across icy waterfalls, cascading straight down from the peaks, turning the surface into a stretch of mud as slippery as grease. Overhead rocky crags jutted out, as if poised to crush the vehicle's roof, ready to unleash sudden rockfalls at any moment. Overhead rocky crags jutted out, as if poised to crush the vehicle's roof, ready to unleash sudden rockfalls at any moment. If there is a place on Earth where time stands completely still, it is the Wakhan corridor, a narrow strip of land stretching over 300 kilometers. Situated at an average altitude of over 4,000 meters above sea level, Wakhan lacks paved roads and mobile phone coverage, remaining almost entirely cut off from the outside world. It was originally established as a geopolitical buffer zone during the 19th century power struggle between the British and Russian empires. Today, however, it presents a brutal test of survival for anyone attempting to traverse it. Much of the route consists of narrow passages clinging to sheer cliff faces, where a slight misstep by a wheel or a foot could send one plunging into an abyss hundreds of meters deep. Winters last up to 8 or 9 months, with temperatures frequently dropping below 30 degrees. Sudden blizzards can transform the entire road into a blinding white trap, halting all attempts at travel. Apart from specialized high-clearance 4x4 vehicles or livestock, hardly any civilian vehicle can withstand the terrain of glacial meltwater riverbeds and scattered boulders. As you grip the steering wheel or motorcycle handlebars amidst the dense fog of the Chin Hills, the first thing that strikes you isn't the scenery, but the pungent scent of damp earth and a deathly silence. The road here is incredibly narrow, barely wide enough for a single pickup truck. On one side looms a sheer grey cliff face prone to landslides. On the other, a dizzying abyss shrouded in endless mist. There are no safety barriers. Forget about gleaming steel guardrails. In the Chin Hills, the only thing standing between you and the precipice might be nothing more than a patch of weeds or a rotting wooden post bearing a faded warning sign. To understand what it's like to inch your way through the fog, picture yourself driving up to the summit of Mount Victoria. There is a sharp 80-degree turn every 50 meters. You cannot see oncoming traffic. The only way to survive is to honk continuously. If one had to single out one of the most dangerous routes in the Himalayas, the Karnali Highway in northwestern Nepal would undoubtedly rank at the very top. Spanning approximately 232 km and linking Circuit to Jumla, this route is more than just a road. It is a vital lifeline connecting tens of thousands of people in remote mountain communities to the outside world. This road is not for the faint-hearted. Over 80% of the route consists of a narrow, rugged surface of dirt and loose rock. On one side loom sheer cliffs prone to landslides, while the other drops into a dizzying abyss, plunging straight down to the churning Karnali River. Many sections are so narrow that vehicles traveling in opposite directions must inch past each other millimeter by millimeter. During the monsoon season, the Karnali Highway transforms into a massive quagmire. Flash floods, rockfalls and landslides become commonplace occurrences. A single falling boulder or a patch of collapsing soft earth is enough to send a bus packed with passengers plummeting into the ravine. Imagine yourself sitting in a four-wheeled vehicle. To your right is a sheer rock wall, while an unfinished rock ceiling overhangs, poised to crush the roof. Tucked away in the Jammu and Kashmir region of India, this is not merely a road, but a breathtaking challenge that straddles the line between life and death. The road is less than 3 meters wide, consisting entirely of loose rock and mud. In many sections, there is barely enough room for a single vehicle to pass. If a vehicle approaches from the opposite direction, one of the two must reverse for hundreds of meters along the edge of a slippery precipice. This road was carved by hand into the granite mountainside amidst a landscape of impossible places. The overhanging rock face is so low that tall vehicles such as high-clearance trucks or tourist buses risk striking their roofs against it. A steering error of just a few centimeters or a rainstorm causing a landslide at the cliff's base could send a vehicle plunging into the abyss, leaving no chance for recovery. In summer, melting snow creates small waterfalls that cascade directly onto the rocky surface, turning the road into an extremely dangerous mud chute. If there is a route where a single misstep means the Himalayas could swallow you whole, it is undoubtedly the Manali-Leh Highway. Spanning over 470 kilometers and connecting Himachal Pradesh with Ladakh, this is far more than just a roadway. Adventurers and seasoned drivers alike call it the Highway of Death. Why is it so unforgiving? The route constantly traverses high mountain passes, such as Taglangla and Lachulungla, ranging from 4,000 to 5,300 meters above sea level. The air is so thin that altitude sickness (AMS) can strike down even the most seasoned riders. Melting ice cascades down, forming rushing streams that cut across the boulder-strewn road. Landslides can strike at any moment without warning. There is absolutely no mobile signal, and the nearest medical facility or rescue team could be hundreds of kilometers away. A vehicle breakdown or getting stranded here in sub-zero temperatures as night falls is truly a nightmare. Located in northwestern Nepal, winding through the rugged Himalayas and heading straight toward the Tibetan border, this is far more than just a transportation route. For any driver who has navigated this path, it represents a gamble with fate amidst the realm of impossible places. To the right looms a sheer cliff face, poised to unleash a rockfall at any moment. To the left lies a dizzying drop, plunging straight down to the churning Karnali River. From a wide-angle view, this precarious road looks like nothing more than a jagged scratch crudely etched into the Himalayan mountainside. The road surface is a mix of loose gravel and mud, with absolutely no guardrails. A slip of just 10 centimeters means there is no second chance. As you drive along this route, the sound of large stones rolling beneath the tires and the roar of the engine straining under a heavy load seem to drown out even the pounding of your own heart. Eight hair-raising hairpin bends, oncoming trucks must inch past each other with millimeter precision to avoid a collision. Local authorities have imposed a total ban on nighttime travel along the entire Karnali Highway due to the alarmingly high risk of accidents after dark. Starting at the Raikot Bridge on the Karakoram Highway, this roughly 15-kilometer trail is not for the faint of heart. It is so rugged that there are no safety barriers. The surface consists entirely of rough earth and rock, and the path is barely wide enough for a 4x4 Jeep to pass. To the right lies a sheer cliff face, while to the left, a dizzying drop plunging thousands of meters down into the Indus River Valley. The World Health Organization has ranked this as one of the most dangerous routes on the planet. A steering error of just a few centimeters or a sudden rockfall could send the entire vehicle into free fall, leaving absolutely no chance for recovery. Local authorities strictly prohibit outsiders from driving themselves. Only local drivers, intimately familiar with every hairpin turn, are permitted to navigate this road of death. The stark contrast between the hellish path and the heavenly scenery is precisely what drives thousands of adventurers to yearn to set foot here. Winters here are long and brutal. Snow piles meters deep, and howling winds tear through the thin, freezing air. The greatest danger is not merely the narrow road clinging to sheer cliffs without guardrails, but the terrifying avalanches. In 2010, an entire convoy of vehicles was buried under tens of thousands of tons of snow in a matter of minutes. When driving through here in winter, you must strain to see through an ice-coated windshield while listening for the rumbling from the peaks, a sound that could signal impending disaster. At the heart of this mountain pass lies the Salang Tunnel, a Soviet-built engineering feat dating back to the 1960s, situated at an altitude of approximately 300-400 meters. CO emissions from thousands of gridlocked heavy-duty trucks create a thick, toxic haze amidst the impossible places. A single stalled or overturned vehicle in the tunnel could expose hundreds of people behind it to the risk of suffocation. Despite such dangers, Salang remains the only transport artery connecting northern and southern Afghanistan. If you think the world's most terrifying roads are found only in the Himalayas, you have likely never encountered the route through Nagorno-Karabakh. This is not merely a journey, it is a trek along the razor-thin line between life and the abyss. Viewed from above, the road appears as nothing more than a slender thread clinging to the sheer cliff face. There are no safety barriers or streetlights, only a dizzying, bottomless abyss plunging thousands of meters on one side. The most terrifying aspect here is not merely the hair-raising, razor-sharp hairpin turns, but the wildly unpredictable weather. Dense fog could swallow visibility in mere seconds, turning the gravel road into a deadly sheet of ice. A single surge of excess throttle or a sudden brake in a moment of inattention, and the price to pay is having no chance to correct the mistake. As you drive through here, your heart will race in sync with the roar of the engine. Only drivers with nerves of steel and absolute composure can conquer this road. If you think the most treacherous routes around the Himalayas are found only on dizzying, high-altitude passes like Zojila or Karakoram, you are mistaken. Look instead to the southeast of the majestic Himalayan range. Here, billions of cubic meters of melting ice and snow roar downstream, carving out one of the planet's most terrifying corridors of life and death. In this place, our path is not paved with concrete or stone, but is instead written by churning murky floodwaters that never stand still. In Bangladesh, rivers serve as the primary arteries of transport. Yet these rivers, fed by waters cascading from the Himalayas via the Ganges and the Padma, are never merciful. The moment the boat leaves the dock, you instantly feel the ferocity of the current. Swirling eddies churn beneath the surface, ready to swallow any vessel that loses control. Traversing this water route, the line between a peaceful journey and disaster is as fragile as a single breath. You are not battling dizzying heights or sheer cliffs. Instead, you are confronting nature's most primal, furious power as it surges forth from the heart of the Himalayas. Forget smooth asphalt roads or comfortable high-speed trains. Deep within the dark mountainous forests of Bengkulu, Indonesia, the very act of traveling is a gamble with one's life. Welcome to Jalur Molek, the sole route leading to the remote gold mining village of Lebong Tandai. The only mode of transport here isn't a jeep or a dirt bike, but the Molek. A makeshift wooden vehicle powered by a motorcycle engine teetering along rusted rails that date back to the Dutch colonial era. Sheer cliffs loom overhead, while a yawning abyss and rushing waters lie far below. The rails are so narrow that the slightest slip could send the wooden cart and its passengers plummeting into the gorge with absolutely no safety equipment to protect them. There are no modern disc brakes or seat belts. The only thing keeping the vehicle on the tracks is the masterful skill and sheer nerve of the local drivers. Upon arriving at the foot of the Zojila Pass, the first sensations to hit are the thin, freezing air and a heavy sense of psychological pressure. On one side looms a sheer cliff face prone to landslides. On the other, a dizzying drop plunging hundreds of meters into the canyon below. A deviation of just a few centimeters at the wheel could send the entire vehicle plummeting into the void. This pass, stretching approximately 9 kilometers, consists largely of a narrow, steep dirt track clinging to the mountainside. In summer, melting ice and snow transform the road surface into slippery mud. In winter, meters of accumulated snow completely isolate the area from the outside world. Zoji lays a strategic military and commercial supply route. Hundreds of Tata trucks, heavily laden with cargo, inch their way along a road barely wide enough for a single lane of traffic. When two vehicles traveling in opposite directions meet at a hairpin turn, one is forced to reverse right to the edge of the precipice with its rocky drop-off below. This route, stretching over 200 kilometers, is not a paved road in the conventional sense. It is essentially a narrow track carved directly into the face of a sheer limestone mountain. A jagged rock overhang hangs so low that high-clearance vehicles or small trucks scrape their roofs against it. It is a sheer drop of up to 600 meters, plunging straight down into the raging Chenab River. And the craziest part, there are absolutely no guardrails. A slip of just a few centimeters leaves no room for error. The road is incredibly narrow. For the most part, there is barely enough width for a single vehicle to pass. You are teetering at an altitude of thousands of meters. The road ahead is a shifting mix of stones and gravel, and suddenly an oncoming vehicle appears right around a sharp bend. There is nowhere to pull over. One of the drivers is forced to reverse for hundreds of meters along a blind cliff edge with no safety mirrors. This is not merely a test of 4x4 or off-road motorcycle skills. It is a nerve-wracking battle of survival instincts. Viewed from above, the Karakoram Highway resembles a fragile ribbon cast amidst towering giants of stone. The route stretches over 1,300 kilometers, cutting across the convergence of three of the world's most majestic mountain ranges. On one side looms a sheer grey cliff face that seems poised to collapse at any moment. On the other lies a yawning abyss, with the Indus River churning violently below. A steering error of just a few centimeters leaves no room for a second chance. The scenery here is surreal in its beauty, yet danger lurks at every meter of the road. Despite the ever-present dangers, driving along the Karakoram Highway offers an indescribable thrill. As you traverse the Hunza Valley, the lush greenery and cherry blossoms offer a striking contrast to the rugged, barren landscape of peaks capped with eternal snow. A place where nature displays its absolute grandeur, while humanity demonstrates its extraordinary limits. Look at this photo at an altitude of nearly 4,000 meters above sea level in the Pir Panjal range of the Himalayas. We are facing Rohtang Pass, one of the most grueling and daunting mountain passes on the planet. In the local language, the name Rohtang carries a chilling meaning, pile of corpses. This name is no exaggeration, but rather a historical reminder of the thousands of travelers who lost their lives here, claimed by sudden snowstorms and landslides. A beautiful sunny morning can transform into a blinding blizzard in mere minutes. Thick fog frequently reduces visibility to near zero. Sheer cliffs loom on one side, while a yawning abyss, devoid of safety barriers, drops away on the other. During the rainy season, the route turns into a muddy riverbed, causing heavy vehicles to constantly get stuck or skid uncontrollably. The combination of thawing ice and falling rocks from the peaks turns every meter of the pass into a life-or-death gamble. The journey begins in the town of Leh. The initial kilometers are relatively smooth, featuring well-paved asphalt roads. However, after just 15 kilometers, the picturesque scenery quickly gives way to the rugged, formidable nature of the Karakoram range. The asphalt vanishes entirely, replaced by loose rocks parched dust, and stretches of flowing meltwater. The engine roars as it loses 30 to 40% of its power due to the lack of oxygen for combustion. Even with the throttle wide open, the bike inches forward up steep inclines. Your heart pounds and your temples throb with sharp pain. At altitudes above 5,000 meters, the oxygen level in the air is only about half of what it is at sea level. Even a simple action, like stepping out of the vehicle to take a photo or taking a few quick steps, can leave you gasping for breath. The final 15-kilometer stretch to the summit is a true hell on earth. Sheer cliffs prone to landslides loom on one side, while a dizzying 1,000-meter drop-off yawns on the other. If National Highway 308 is hailed as China's scenic wonderland, then the 72 bends of the New River represent a grueling test. Starting from the summit of the Ngipla Pass, at an elevation of 4,658 meters, the road plunges steeply down into the New River Valley, which lies at an altitude of approximately 300 meters. That is a vertical drop of nearly 1,500 meters over a journey of just a few dozen kilometers. In reality, the number of hairpin turns here far exceeds 72. There are over 130 consecutive bends. The continuous descent causes the brake pads of trucks and passenger vehicles to constantly overheat. A single moment of inattention or improper braking technique, and the sheer drop into the raging New River below leaves no room for a second chance. On one side looms a sheer cliff face, harboring the constant threat of landslides and sudden rock falls. On the other lies a precipitous drop devoid of adequate safety barriers. Summer rains bring mud and debris, while winter ice and snow transform the road surface into a slippery mirror-like sheet. The first thing to knock the wind out of travelers isn't the steep inclines or the loose rocks, it's the lack of oxygen. As you cross the Tanglangla Pass, oxygen levels drop to roughly half of what they are at sea level. Your head spins, your heart pounds as if trying to burst from your chest, and every breath feels heavy and labored. Driving here demands absolute focus, while your body is constantly being drained of energy. Starting from lush green Manali, where cliffs are shrouded in mist, you pass through the Atal Tunnel or traverse the Rotang Pass. Vegetation vanishes, giving way to a frozen desert and imposing grim grey limestone massifs. There are stretches of perfectly smooth asphalt, yet just around the bend lies a muddy dirt track where sharp gravel bites into the tires or a meltwater stream cuts right across the road. Driving through the Gata loops with their 21 consecutive hairpin bends is an extreme psychological test. If you consider yourself a seasoned driver, take a good look at this route before confidently getting behind the wheel. Welcome to Spiti Valley, a world within a world where people push the limits of survival against the towering cliffs of the Himalayas. Situated at an altitude of over 3,800 meters above sea level, the route through Spiti is more than just a journey. It is a high-stakes gamble with nature. On one side rises a sheer limestone cliff, poised to crumble at the slightest gust of wind. On the other lies the yawning abyss of the churning Spiti River. The gravel tracks are so narrow that they barely accommodate a single vehicle, places where a steering error of just a few centimeters could cost a life. Yet beyond the harshness of the arid climate and the suffocatingly thin air, Spiti rewards the daring with a surreal beauty. Ancient monasteries centuries old, perched amidst the clouds and breathtakingly deep, majestic gorges. Bridging peril and wonder. Do you have the courage to set foot on Spiti's road of death at least once in your lifetime? If there is a place that leaves you breathless with fear, yet unable to tear your eyes away due to the sheer magnificence of the scenery, it is Jalowari Pass. Unlike mountain passes with smooth paved surfaces, Jalowari is a patchwork of mud-rough boulders and slippery gravel. In many sections, the gradient reaches 15–20%. The engine roaring violently and the acrid stench of burning brake pads filling the air are all too familiar experiences. A single careless press of the accelerator or a loss of momentum on a hairpin turn could easily send the vehicle sliding uncontrollably into the ravine. The road is so narrow that in many sections, a meeting between two oncoming vehicles spells disaster. One driver is forced to reverse hundreds of meters, hugging the precipice just to let the other inch past. This place is likened to a frozen cauldron. A clear blue sky can instantly give way to a blinding blizzard in just 15 minutes. Ice and snow coat the asphalt, creating slippery ice rinks right beside dizzying precipices. At this altitude, the oxygen level in the air drops by nearly half. A single moment of inattention caused by altitude sickness could cost a driver the entire journey. Rockfalls and avalanches frequently sweep across the mountain pass, capable of knocking any passing vehicle off the road or burying it completely. Nathula is not for the faint-hearted. It is a grueling test of mental fortitude and endurance amidst the bone-chilling cold, treacherous steep inclines, and the solitude of the Himalayas. If you had the chance to get behind the wheel, would you dare to conquer this deadly curve at an altitude of 4,300 meters? Upon arriving at the start of the Siddha Baba stretch, the overwhelming impression is not the majestic scenery, but the sheer fury of the rock. The region's geology consists of a mix of limestone and the crumbling shale characteristic of the young Himalayan range. Just before entering the most perilous stretch, local drivers invariably stop at the Siddha Baba temple. They ring bells, light incense, and honk their horns loudly. This is more than just a religious observance. It serves as their sole source of spiritual reassurance, knowing that for the next few minutes, no one slows down to admire the scenery here. Drivers gun the engine to speed through as fast as possible. Their eyes constantly darting toward the towering cliffs hundreds of meters high on their right. A fist-sized rock falling from that height could easily smash through a windshield, while boulders weighing tons lie ready to crush any vehicle beneath them. To begin, we stand before Aruanachal Pradesh, India's remote, far eastern frontier, where the Himalayas rear up in sheer walls of rock. From a distance, the road connecting Guwahati or Tezpur to Tawang looks like a slender, winding thread clinging to the sheer cliff face. Yet it is only when you take the wheel yourself that you truly feel the pressure weighing on every breath. Sela Pass sits at an altitude of 470 meters above sea level. At this height, the air is so thin that even a gentle tap on the accelerator or a sharp turn can leave you dizzy from a lack of oxygen. Year-round snow causes the wheels to spin helplessly. Without snow chains, a heavy 4x4 vehicle becomes no different from a bar of soap sliding across ice. On one side looms a sheer cliff prone to landslides while the other drops into a yawning abyss devoid of concrete curbs or safety barriers. A single moment of inattention or a poorly timed hard brake could send you plummeting to the bottom of the gorge. Renowned as a survival route of a very particular kind, blinding snowstorms and sub-zero temperatures plunging dozens of degrees below zero. If you think dangerous roads are defined solely by steep cliffs and precipices, Kazakhstan's M32 Highway will completely redefine your concept of a driving nightmare. Stretching over 2,000 kilometers across the vast Central Asian steppe, the M32 doesn't kill drivers with hairpin turns, but with the sheer brutality of nature. In winter, temperatures here can plummet to 40 degrees. Furious blizzards known to locals as buran can obliterate visibility in mere seconds, transforming the asphalt road into a vast, inescapable sheet of ice. With no mobile signal and no rest stops, there is nothing but white snow and howling winds. A vehicle breakdown here in the dead of a winter night is not merely a mechanical issue, it is a battle for survival against death by hypothermia. The M32 leaves no room for complacency. Here, a single moment of inattention or one wrong decision is enough to turn your trip into a journey of no return. So what do you think about this road if you were forced to drive along it in the middle of winter? Fasten your seatbelt and roll the window down, just a crack, to feel the biting, bone-chilling cold and hear the wind howling through the mountain pass. Right now, we are standing at an altitude of over 3,500 meters above sea level. Now the steering wheel is trembling in your hands, not from the cold, but from the sheer tension of navigating these impossible places. Glancing to the right, the car door seems to be hovering over empty space. Below lies a dizzying drop of thousands of meters plunging straight down to a churning rocky river. The road is less than 3 meters wide, nothing but rough earth and stone, with absolutely no concrete curbs or safety barriers. A steering error of just 5 centimeters, and there is no chance to correct it. The road cut across icy waterfalls, cascading straight down from the peaks, turning the surface into a stretch of mud as slippery as grease. Overhead rocky crags jutted out, as if poised to crush the vehicle's roof, ready to unleash sudden rockfalls at any moment. Overhead rocky crags jutted out, as if poised to crush the vehicle's roof, ready to unleash sudden rockfalls at any moment. If there is a place on Earth where time stands completely still, It is the Wakhan corridor, a narrow strip of land stretching over 300 kilometers. Situated at an average altitude of over 4,000 meters above sea level, Wakhan lacks paved roads and mobile phone coverage, remaining almost entirely cut off from the outside world. It was originally established as a geopolitical buffer zone during the 19th century power struggle between the British and Russian empires. Today, however, it presents a brutal test of survival for anyone attempting to traverse it. Much of the route consists of narrow passages clinging to sheer cliff faces where a slight misstep by a wheel or a foot could send one plunging into an abyss hundreds of meters deep. Winters last up to 8 or 9 months, with temperatures frequently dropping below 30 degrees. Sudden blizzards can transform the entire road into a blinding white trap, halting all attempts at travel. Apart from specialized high-clearance 4x4 vehicles or livestock, hardly any civilian vehicle can withstand the terrain of glacial meltwater riverbeds and scattered boulders.